Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Drew's awkward start.
Welcome to another episode of We Fixed Real Estate. Today we have Renee on the show, and we have Chris Gustavel on the show. She's up in Seattle area, Ballard area, a vital part of Arrivva's Northwest arm. Fred, how's it going? That was about as awkward as we get. We may
It could have been worse. Or it could have been better worse, I should say, because we like it when we screw up. Anyway, so here's the story. It is Monday, the 20th of January, 11 o'clock Pacific time. I just saw a TikTok where this guy was saying that the ICE trucks are already out in Seattle taking people away. So whatever.
The ICE trucks are taking people
ICE
away.
Patrol. Yep. ICE Patrol,
taking people away.
Well, they're not just going to Chicago and the other cities. They're here in Seattle.
Oh, got it.
ICE. I thought you were talking about like snowplows and stuff.
Me too.
No, sorry. The other ICE.
They're taking the people away. Got it. Okay.
The unnice ICE.
Okay.
So not that ICE is nice anywhere. Speaking of ICE, so as some of you may know, or nobody knows, I live in Los Angeles. I live not exactly near the fires. I'm in Marina Del Rey, but the problem is, the fires are gone, but the pollution in the air is out of control. And people in LA are, let's play tennis, let's ride my bike, let's go outside. It looks pickleball. Yeah, it's blue skies. It looks beautiful out there. And we're just going to do what we normally do. Well, I spent Monday night last week in the hospital, coughing my brains out. Everything checked out. My chest was clear, vitals and tests they took. So I had an unknown virus, quote unquote. Basically, you're getting all this crap from the fire coming into your lungs. And you don't know it, but I knew it. And I've been coughing. And then Friday night, I was also, even doing all the precautions, having all the different masks, etc. It was just still bad. So I decided I have to do some stuff up here. So I'm actually up in Seattle.
You are?
Yes, I am. I'm downtown. Ran away for a few days. I'll be here till tomorrow. And then I'm off to Philadelphia. Spend some time with my grandkids where it's 15 degrees, but it's NFC Championship week. So
that'll be fun to be there.
The usual crazies, but I'm just going to stay inside. It's going to be 18 on Wednesday or something ridiculous. So I'm not a fan of the cold, hence the move to California. But now, I got to get away from it. There's some articles. I mean, please, people in LA, I don't know when this is going to air, but it's not going to be over by the time this airs. Get those masks on, stay inside, get your filters cleaned, new filters, air purifiers, the whole 9 yards. It's terrible there. Because remember what burned? Houses and cars. And what do they have? They have 1920s houses had lead in them. They have asbestos in them. And that's just for starters.
Right, yeah.
So be careful out there, kids. It's horrible. So,
and there's no rain on the horizon. So until we'll have another disaster once all this stuff flows into the ocean, but at least it won't be in the air anymore.
Exactly. And we're also going to have mudslides. So they're actually trying to prepare for the mudslides where they think it's going to be. So, if the ground stays hard enough, it warms up the ground to get harder. It's not going to be as bad. But with the hot fires,
that first rain loosens hard ground, like especially down in Southern California. I watered my backyard last Sunday, and I hadn't watered in a while. The water just flowed right down into the neighbor's yard. It didn't suck in at all.
Yeah, but at least it cleared the air up. So when I'm in Philadelphia, I'm gonna get one of those. I don't know what they're even called, but the masks with the things on them, so I look like a complete idiot. But I don't care. Obviously, my lungs suck this stuff in.
Nobody's going to notice.
Yeah, I'd probably get more dates or something that way. Going LA. Oh, you have a cool mask. I'm going to date you. Who knows? So that's the story. And let me go through a couple other things in the Los Angeles real estate market really quickly. I mean, you see all these guys, oh, people are charging this and that. And blah, blah, blah. There's like almost 20,000 rental ads on Zillow. It's not like there's no place around there. I keep getting new listings coming up. And, it's kind of in the normal course of business. Nobody's like rushing to buy things. Yeah, you're hearing a few people, hey, I'll take more money for this. I'll bid you for that. And people who are trying to rip off everybody, but they're few and far between. There's been no arrests. There's been no action so far. So it's not as bad online, at least, as people think it is. It's obviously great sensationalism, scream and yell about it. But just be careful out there. And if anybody's thinking of selling anything in the fire zone, do not under any circumstances sell it right now, because or put it under agreement, or even give a listing contract, because you don't know what you have. There's a variety of ways to sell it, and one way is you sell it with the proceeds of the insurance as part of your deal, but you don't know what that's going to be. Another thing is, the best investment you can probably make is go out and find an insurance adjuster. They're going to be easy to find, and they're probably going to try to contact you. These guys really know how to negotiate with insurance companies. If this is the only time you've ever done this, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what's going on the other side. I'm sure there's attorneys who also do negotiation for this, but the adjusters, I believe, take a percentage of the total recapture.
An insurance adjuster you hire an adjuster as an advocate for you to between
exactly
you and the,
like a buyer broker.
okay.
Yeah, so definitely insurance adjusters are a great way to go. So, just wait. You just got to wait till everything calms down. There's enough agencies, American Red Cross, FEMA, et cetera. There's tons and tons of people have accounts online for raising money for different ways, different sources. I like the idea is you give like $10 to 20 people, give a little bit, and like everybody else, and then it generates more oomph, and, go down to the people who aren't at the top of the list. And,
But for charities, what are you talking about?
for
$10
just
20 different people?
for just donating,
Oh, okay.
just donating. I mean, you can be all over the place. It's money. It's the easiest. They have too much clothes. So that's a good thing. They'll probably give it to the homeless.
They're saying nobody needs clothes. I mean, it's not really, you're just going to go buy. I mean,
Yeah.
most people are just going to go to Target and buy some clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a mess. And, just think before you do. That's really my advice. And now we're up here in Seattle.
So you're up in Seattle. What's the latest up in Seattle other than ice trucks running around?
Chris, what do you got?
I don't have anything. It's just really cold, and it's normally not this cold here. So I've been staying inside also.
Have you been getting
clothes?
Have you guys been getting snow up there now? Or has it been like that? It's cold.
Just cold, clear skies. So no snow.
That's worse.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it would snow if it's going to be this cold, actually. So
Yeah. Well, for right now, I'm happy that it's just
you're happy.
clean air.
Yeah, very clean air, very cold.
Now, how does that affect the housing market?
Clean air?
Well, clean air is going to be good, but cold. The people like, I want a warmer day to go look at a house, or I'm not going to buy a house.
No, if you're really looking, you're going to go. But if you're just like a nosy person who just wants to see what's out there, no, you're not going to go. So I think the serious people they don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious about that region. We spend so much time talking about the Bay Area and all the listings. And then I have some friends down in the Tacoma area, and that place has been pretty hot. Give us a rundown. Yeah, they're on the peninsula or whatever it's called up there, the older section.
I feel like, I don't have that much experience, but the few offers.
Or just the general Seattle, like someone maybe considering relocating to Seattle.
Still competitive. Still, the good houses in the good neighborhoods with the good schools there's lots of offers. So, and we have some clients that keep getting outbid that are looking, and especially for turnkey houses, because in Seattle there's so many older buildings So to
Mhm.
find a house in Seattle that's totally redone, people that don't want to mess around with doing their remodeling are really, really hot.
Yeah. I mean, it's Silicon Valley's the same way,
Yeah.
when it's beautiful and it's clean and it's fresh,
Yeah.
pay top dollar. And if it's in a great school district, that's where you're going
Get
to
it right.
show me the money. It's all it amounts to.
Like the last bid that we had those clients at René, you said that the house would go for like 1.6 something, and it was listed at 1.4, and it went for 1.6 something. And they barely bid over asking, and they didn't even come close.
Yeah, they learned.
They learned.
That's what happens with people who come to us. It's like, got to understand the market. You can't just see, oh, that's the asking price, so I'll bid a few
Yeah.
bucks over when there's 50 people in an open house, and it's
And especially like you say, Fred, how you tell people to go to the open houses to see how busy they are. And even they said how busy that open house was. And they still, like you say, now they'll learn. But you're right. If the open house is super busy, then they got like 20 offers or something.
right. One suggestion I can make for everybody if you're in a competitive market is lower the minimum price that you're looking at and also raise the maximum price. The reason being, on the max side, there's idiot owners who think things are worth 5 million when they're worth 2. And the other game is that agents will price something seriously low to make a bunch of people say, oh, I'd be interested in that.
Good
That's
deal.
in my price range.
Right.
Yeah. So they go look at it. It's really pretty. And an agent who doesn't know what they're doing submits a deal for them. And it's a waste of time. It's a waste of everybody's time because they're not realistic on the price. So, but you'll be able to see if you're looking at 1.5, look down to $1 million. And the reason the agents do it is to spur up interest. But the second reason they do it is they can go to the next prospective seller and say, look, I got $1 million over asking.
Mhm.
Well, they never asked the question, was the asking a reasonable number? So
Right.
you're being lied to indirectly by an agent.
I mean, is it being lied to or is it doing your job? I mean, what's the job of the listing agent, right?
It's deceptive. Fully explain what you're doing is one thing. But hey, I got $1 million over, so you should list with me. So they expect $1 million over. But it's just the way if they explain it clearly and distinctly and exactly what their marketing plan is and why and all that, that's one thing. But sometimes it's just, they want to gloat about how great they are, and that's the way they do it. So just be careful.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess it's not really worth going deeper in because you already got your perception of it.
Yeah.
Right? But which is the problem, other people that are trying to disrupt real estate, right? It's like, no, things are done the way things are done because if you do it otherwise, it's not going to work, right? And if you don't market it, I mean, I'd argue that wanting to list transparently is what creates more havoc in the real estate market, because then you have agents who are going to say, I list at a higher number and your house is worth more. Realistically, you want people to realize that their house is not worth as much as they think. I mean, that is why Redfin and Zillow, Realtor.com, a lot of these big brokerages, there was lawsuits against their algorithm, right? Because the algorithm would say that the houses are worth more than they really are. And that's what really creates a worse environment in the real estate industry when you have an overpricing of structures. You also have to build some new data sets. I mean, that's how you fix the industry. You build new data sets that showcase how much junk fees and ancillary fees were attributed to that sale, right? We don't have the closing costs and all those fees in transactions. The smaller the price of the houses, the lower the lower ratio of fees that exist. But the more you go into the 3 million, 4 million, we don't know what went on in that transaction. Were there any full repairs that happened before closing that we can't really attribute it to? And we have that in a house in Seattle, right? We have a person who's, we're not getting a credit for the home, but instead, we actually are getting some sort of credit, but we are also getting a big repair done on the transaction. So those things are not accounted into the sale price. If you really want to actually fix the real estate market and the real estate industry, you have to create uh, MLS systems that have more data in there, not limited. And yeah, I mean, we hate it when we have to educate clients on the sale price is fake, but that's what that's what differentiates a home buyer that's been on the market for a long time versus a new home buyer, right? The new home buyer is just not going to get a house. And it's like,
and that brings me to another thing that's going on in the real estate industry. Compass and other agencies are pushing for their own private listings, which is disgusting. I mean, it screws the consumer really bad. It screws the owner really bad.
Are private listings the same as pocket listings?
Yeah, private, pocket, whatever you want to call them. The stuff that's not on the MLS, so that only an agent in Compass can sell it. Well, you got dual agency right there. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Dual agency, big problem. Google it. As a seller, you're not getting out to everybody to start a bidding war. And as it may also be the flip side is they're going to sell it if your house isn't in good shape and you convince these people, oh, we have people to do it, and they sell it for $200,000-300,000 under what it's worth. Because, oh, it was private, it was quick, they had a buyer, and it was just easier, and that's the way they try to convince you. So it's evil, it's awful, and it's disgusting, and it should be illegal.
And I think that's where we have to then create legislation that showcases how real estate brokerages are like any big tech company, right? Right now, we're looking at things like, did Meta buy TikTok, right? And why is that like a big, like a news story is because if Meta were to buy TikTok, for example, it would be a huge monopoly, right? The way that if Meta was trying to buy Instagram right now, they would have not allowed it. So the solution to that is when you look at brokerages trying to merge or, for the most part, merge, it's like, no, these brokerages are too big. You cannot merge them together because then you create that monopoly. And is at the level where it's getting too big to be controlled in terms of helping the consumer, right? And you can, a small brokerage cannot compete with Compass in terms of pocket listings. And you have to create potentially those regulations to not allow dual agency. I think states to have that. And yeah, if you want to lower prices of commissions, you do have to have some changes in the way that commissions work, where if you don't want representation on either side, you should have the opportunity to do so if you understand the consequences, if you have experience in the real estate industry. Because maybe sometimes you're just, you've lived in a house for 40 years and your landlord doesn't really care about getting the most price and you know how the house is. Yeah. Do you really need an agent for that? I wouldn't think so. You want to make sure you have some third party look at your documents and make sure that things are in order. But you don't need to go through the entire regular processes, right? It just doesn't make sense. And that goes back to like when we go back to insurance adjusters, right? Do you need that middleman? If you haven't done it, you probably do. But at the same time, you're going to be tied with junk fees in between. Every time you have a middleman, you're going to pay more money. That's just the bottom line of it. So and that's with like Uber, that's with Airbnb, that's with all these other companies, because you're paying for the ability to, do things without the hassle of trying to look for more options. So,
it's a balance, really what it amounts to.
Drew, you look really pensive. What's on your mind?
No, just absorbing all this information. And honestly, I was thinking of another conversation that I had earlier last weekend or Saturday with my sister who's buying a house, but it's a different topic. So I want to make sure that we explore the fees because I'm just going to jump into it because we've already started talking about it. So my sister's buying a house in Point Loma. I grew up in Point Loma. It's a peninsula right by downtown San Diego, a very insulated community, a higher end community, but I've never really never really thought about it this way. On the low end in Point Loma, low end being 1.5 million to 1.7 million, the housing prices are getting, or the list prices are being reduced. They're not going up. Conversely, though, on the upper end, in like the $3 to $6 million range, those are all going above asking. There's like this disparity between the starter homes in San Diego and the bigger homes. And that, so she just put an offer in 200,000 under the list price for this $1.79 million house. And the reason that we kind of came up with is that not everybody's as invested in Point Loma. And in the starter homes, if they get up above 1.7, people just start looking at other areas of San Diego, like Sereno Valley or Carmo Valley, because there's not that general
ceiling. Yeah.
There's a low end ceiling, and then there's this upper end blue sky, and there's nothing in the middle. Yeah, that's you see across other areas like Los Angeles and Seattle.
I mean, every little bit of real estate, every little market is going to be completely different. So if they built, basic houses and super nice houses, that's all there is. It just is what it is. I mean, it's probably that the 1.7 house was a seller who probably wanted more than it was worth. And do we know if the agent tried to convince them to go lower, or the agent said, hey, let's try it at 1.7, or swore he could get them 1.7. You just don't know the situation of what the listing agent and the seller talked about before you submit an offer.
Yeah, so, this one, they've been looking at houses for a year there. So they've done many offers, many different houses, and have seen the same sort of situation play out, where there's not that little gradual increase. The $2 million people aren't going down to 1.5. They're going up to 2.6 and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there's this huge gap.
It's a prestige thing, right? Like, there's some people that, if they're able to pay more, they want to stay. It's like location. It's like, and it is also property specific, but let's say it's like in a place like San Francisco, if you have more than $2 million, you expect a garage, right? That's just, it doesn't really matter where you are. Not because you need the garage, but because you want that luxury. You want that extra, convenience in your home. So in Point Loma, right, it might just depend on, the Point Loma gets a little bit too commercial at times, right? And it creates a commute. So I'd have to see exactly the locations where they kind of segregate. But I would imagine there's probably like a really specific and nuanced, like change in commute times if you're in one place versus the other. And I think it gets a little bit foggy. So I wonder if it's also based on the sun. So there's a lot of that coastal fog that rises in Point Loma.
Living at a beach is not all about sunshine every day. There's the fog that comes in. So I know it from where I live. Now it's full of dirt and debris. Supposed to water.
And also the schools. I mean, wonder if you look at the schools, if it changes from if you're in the northern side or south side.
No, it's not. There's only one high school there. It's not school based, and it's not location based, because you'll look at the same houses on the block, and it's all within walking distance from Liberty Station. It's all on the bay side, not the ocean side.
What about lot sizes? Are they smaller? Are they the same?
Well, there's definitely, I mean, that's the thing. There's the starter home lot size, and then there's the 3/4 acre lot size as you get further down the peninsula.
Yeah. Here's the thing too, right? Like I think at some point the property stops mattering. And, we always say that it's all about the location. But above that is the size of the lot. The bigger the lot size is, the better that, even if the market goes horribly bad, let's say we go in a 2008 level crash, you still have that big land size, right? It's going to be a safer investment than a property that's just built to the top. Yeah. And you don't have that extra ability to build or expand.
For me, it was more just this dichotomy where you see a housing on the lower end being frozen, whereas on the upper end, it keeps appreciating.
Yeah.
And there's zero middle ground. I should go. And this is that we're excluding townhomes and all those other kind of multi condo type things. These are only like single family homes.
That's interesting. Yeah. You usually see like some form of like kind of gradual increase in prices like throughout areas.
Well, like I guess a parallel might be Cupertino. Cupertino has like people want to live there, but and the starter homes only appreciate so much. If not, they're just going to we're just going to move to Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Whereas like the upper end of Cupertino just keeps rising and rising and rising, but there's that pain point that freezes the lower end market. I'm making that up. I don't know if the same thing's in Cupertino.
It is, but I mean, definitely Cupertino is a much larger area than like Loma. So it'd be a more curious ecosystem to check out in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really good sushi place that I would always go there. Forget the name of it. Yeah.
Brad, you gone mobile. What's going on?
Yeah, no, the internet got wacky on it. So hotel internet. Always put a VPN on. Anyway, give you guys a look at beautiful Seattle and our view from here.
Wow, looks
Because
like you
it's
need
far.
glasses.
What's that?
Oh, it's all blurry.
Oh, okay. It's probably because of how the phone is. Whatever.
Oh,
Anyway.
it's your glamour filter.
God, I'm having a bad hair day, but all right. I got a solution.
Well, oh,
That's
look at
worse, Fred.
Nah, it's beautiful now. Like, yeah.
For those of you not on video listening to this, you may want to just check back when you get home and see a computer screen. We got a fashion show going on here.
That's better-ish. Anyway.
So Fred, what's next? Top of mind. You had a good list of things.
So we were talking a couple weeks ago about what you can do with food if you're really good at baking, making roast chicken, whatever, and selling it locally. And you know, I had made a gigantic thing of chicken soup last week because I knew it's just going to be in the house and just have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, wow, a big apartment building, you can make giant thing of chicken soup and get it 8-ounce containers and sell it to your neighbors for $5 or something. There's all kinds of things. But this woman came out, she baked and she opened this little bake shop outside her house, and she's got like a little stand outside. It's very cool. But if this is a great side hustle for people, this is in California where they passed the law. Basically, you can read all the laws, but you don't have to go and get super duper tested.
Cottage industry.
Right. So we talked about it before, and I'm starting to see a lot of people doing it. It's a great idea.
I first saw it I was watching that series called Bread, and the first episode was San Francisco sourdough, and they had a few cottage industry bakers that just started in their basement, and now they're up to 1,000 loaves a day almost.
Wow. That is one busy oven. I'm sure they got more than one oven in there. They do 1,000 loaves a day.
Well, they started with 25, and the guy rides around on his bike delivering bread to the neighbors.
There you go.
It was this cottage industry thing that allowed him to expand.
Very cool. Very cool.
So you're going to do real estate and chicken soup.
Yep. Pretty much.
New revenue stream.
Yeah. Chicken soup's pretty damn good. I have my little tricks to make it good. By the way, here's a secret trick to a chicken soup. Instead of buying, the raw chicken and making it in the pot and boiling it, go buy the already done roast chicken at wherever and put that in after you put the vegetables and the chicken stock and all that, and let that flavor. Don't get the barbecued one, but just get the regular roast chicken.
$4.99
little freaky. Ugh. Those are the skinniest birds around.
Costco chicken?
Yeah, Costco chicken. Yeah,
that's for $4.99.
They're not organic.
Oh, no.
No, they're nothing close to it.
No.
But it's not bad. But yeah, I mean, we love these little things you can do at home and when you buy a house and, just have fun. But look, we're kind of business as usual. LA, well, we're taking them one deal at a time. We actually have somebody buying in Arcadia, which is very close to Altadena, who is able to get insurance.
Well,
So insurance is the big thing. But the same broker from the same company couldn't get somebody a policy in Danville, which is not on fire right now. So you've got to search around and fair plan, read what it doesn't cover, because you're going to need a second policy, going to need a separate liability policy. So the insurance people are the number one people you should talk to, even before real estate agent, to make sure you're going to be able to buy in a certain area in California. So that's really important. Really, really important. So that's the biggest takeaway now. But yeah, we'll just let this all hang out. Let this all happen. Let's just keep rocking and rolling, and see you next week from maybe Philadelphia or back to LA.
that's jet setting.
Yeah, sure am. Thank God I got miles racked up, and thanks American Airlines for only 23,000 miles for first class from Seattle to Philadelphia through Los Angeles, though. But still, 23,000, cheap ticket. It's freezing. Nobody wants to go there. So if you like the cold weather, you can get a cheap ticket to the East Coast. So there you go.
Chris, what about you? What's your last thoughts on this premiere episode of
well,
It's
interesting.
Real Estate?
Yeah.
It's riveting.
It's riveting.
Riveting.
Glad to be a part of it.
There you go. Chris will bring a different dynamic here, and we're looking forward to her joining us and talking about other stuff. She's got teenagers, so many of you will be able to relate in her world.
And a 22-year-old teenager. And a 22-year-old.
There you go. And Renee's just Renee. Just keeps working.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's at any time of the year, it's nice to see the people who had not been making offers and they had been out of the market. And then they come back and they're fully prepared to make offers. And I think it's because of the new year, right? You see people make New Year resolutions of like, oh, I'm going to buy a house. And you see like the brand new buyers get into the market, and it's like us trying to lose weight, right? We the first month we gave up on that, and we hopefully we won't see as many of those first time home buyers give up on their housing journey so quickly during the year. And I mean, it's a good day to be in a place that's not, under a disaster for sure. So
yeah. All right, let's end this with 2 words. And those 2 words are very simple. Go Birds.
Go Birds. I thought it was
Okay, go Birds.
Go Birds.
we saw it.
You're not from Philly, you don't know what we're talking about. It's the way to say hello now. It's Go Birds.
Go Birds. Okay.
Go Birds. That's it.
Well, on that note, this has been another episode of We Fixed Real Estate. Go Birds.
Here you go.